Hey guys, how is everybody doing? Now, this is a video I've been putting off for a while now. This is a video I've been wanting to do, but since 2024 has just began, I've been wrapping up my New Year's. I had school to worry about. I want to get out my TED review series. I also reviewed John Carpenter's The Thing because I wanted to do that because that sounded like fun. But this video I've been putting off for a while now, and this is a video I should have done beforehand, so please forgive me. And this is a video I'm very late to the party for, and today I'm going to be giving you my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year 2024. Now, these are some movies that I'm probably more just interested in, movies that I'm very intrigued to check out. Some of these movies I've been excited for the second they announced it. These are my most anticipated movies of the year, so let me know let me know your most excited movies of the year 2024 are down in the comments below. So that with that all out of the way, here are my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024. Before we begin, I do have a few honorable mentions, and if being completely honest, I could have made like a top 20 most anticipated movies, but I just stuck with 10, just to not waste anybody's time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say the movie what it is, give my brief thoughts on it just a tiny bit so I don't drag out this video. But the first honorable mention is going to be the Nosferatu remake. This is Robert Eggers' new directorial effort. I haven't seen many of his movies. I have checked out The Northman that came out in like 2022 or 2021 or something like that. I can't remember. But I checked that when it first came out, and I really actually enjoyed it. And, you know, I have seen the original Nosferatu back when it was like free on like Prime, like a long time ago. It's been a long time since I last seen that movie. And I don't like remakes usually. That I've said that numerous times that they're not my cup of tea, and I just don't care for them very much. But Nosferatu is the exception to where I believe that it does deserve a sequel. There's never been a movie to where I say, oh, that needs a sequel. And whenever they announce a remake, I go, oh god. But Nosferatu is one of them. That movie, the original movie, is extremely outdated. That movie is extremely dated for modern audiences, and I can see why some people wouldn't like it because it's outdated. And I'm very intrigued for a remake because Bill Skarsgård is going to be playing Orlok in this movie. Sign me up. And this is the only vampire movie to where I believe this can get darker, more serious vampires back on track. Jesus Christ, what just happened there? Back on track. Because after Twilight came out, it was just about sexy boys and werewolves and when a girl should choose between a vampire and a werewolf. That's Twilight. We still have that in the air, kind of, but we've kind of gotten back on that darker vampire train going. We got Renfield and the Last Voyage of Demeter last year, and I believe that this is going to be the vampire movie that finally gets vampire movies back on track. I'm really hoping that it is. Next honorable mention is going to be Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire. This is the next entry in Legendary Pictures' MonsterVerse, which consists of Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, I have not seen Godzilla King of the Monsters, but so far I've been really enjoying this universe. I think it's one of the more unique ones, and I really do enjoy it. And on American take on Godzilla so far, I think they've been doing pretty good if you ask me, but I'm not the biggest Godzilla fan, but I do like it. And, I really enjoyed Godzilla vs. Kong. That was one of my favorite movies of 2021 when that released, and I'm very intrigued for a sequel. The trailer for this movie the little teaser that we got has sold me, and that looks like it's going to be fun, where Godzilla and Kong team up this time instead of fight. But the only reason this movie didn't crack my top 10 is because the villain of this movie is supposed to be the biggest villain of the MonsterVerse, that it takes two to fight this guy, and it's the biggest threat in the entire MonsterVerse. I have not seen that yet. The teaser when we got it, we only got like a brief second of him, and when I got from him, I'm like, that just looks like a red monkey. And we've been getting toys of him, and I'm like, that guy does not look threatening. I'm hoping whenever we get not a teaser, a trailer for this movie, I'm really hoping they'll show more of him to show why I should be scared of this guy and not be like, he's just an ordinary monkey. I'm really hoping the trailer for this movie will sell me on that, but Godzilla X Kong, I really enjoyed the first movie, so I'm intrigued for this one. Honorable mention, now this movie came very close to cracking my top 10, but I'll give my reasons why, and that is Alien Romulus or some shit like that. I love the Aliens franchise, especially the first two movies. Those are two of my favorite movies ever made. And I get guilty pleasure out of Alien not Romulus. Well, what was the fourth movie? I forget what the fourth movie is called. I hate Alien 3. That I'll give my thoughts on that whenever I get to it. And I enjoy AVP. Those movies are pretty fun for me. I didn't really care for what Ridley Scott was trying to do with Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I would have liked if we got the third chapter to that so we can see that trilogy conclude, but we never got it. But I'm very intrigued for this one. No, this movie came very close to cracking my top 10. The only reason it didn't is because I've seen jack shit from this movie. We saw one behind the scenes photo of this movie, and that is it. And a few blot details, and really Scott saying that this movie was fucking amazing, basically. I'm just not completely sold on it yet. I'm really glad that we're getting a new Alien movie. I'm glad that they learned their mistake with Prey. Instead of just releasing it on Hulu, it's going to get a theatrical release now, which I think Prey should have gotten, and we need a sequel to Prey. And I'm glad that they're going to do the same thing with this movie, to where what I heard from this movie is going to have the horror of the first movie and the action of Aliens. That just tells me alone, but I'm still going in cautious with this film. Next honorable mention is a movie I actually don't have to wait too long for, and that is Matthew Vaughn's Argylle. Now, basically, what this movie is about a girl that writes like spy movies, like heist books, stuff like that. But she doesn't know that stuff that she's writing is actually coming true, and is actually stuff that's going on. And so, Bryan Cranston, who I absolutely love, thank you Breaking Bad, who sends out like a bunch of government agents after her or something like that to kidnap her to write the next story so he can see what will happen with Agent Argylle and stuff like that. I love Henry Cavill, but he needs to get rid of that fucking haircut, whatever the fuck is wrong with his hair in this movie. But yeah, I don't have to wait very long for this movie. Now, I will admit I've never seen a Matthew Vaughn movie. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing any Kingsman movies. I have not seen the Kick-Ass movies. I'm sorry, but I plan on reviewing the Kingsman movies before this movie comes out, so look out for those. But yeah, the trailer for this movie alone has sold me, and I'm very excited to see what this movie has to offer. We're almost there. We're almost at the end. The next honorable mention is what was it? Abigail. I almost forgot the name for it. Abigail. This is Radio Silence's next movie. Who has directed Ready or Not and Screams 5 and 6, not 7, unfortunately. And I really dig Radio Silence. I really love I really like almost every movie those guys have made. I really enjoy a lot of them. And when we got the trailer for this movie, I wasn't gonna watch it at first, but my buddy kept sending it to me. He's like, "Dude, watch this trailer. It's so good. This movie will sell you." I'm like, "Dude, I'm already sold that Radio Silence is part of it." I watched the trailer. I'm like, "Dude, this movie looks so for me." So basically, what this movie is, you get a group of characters, and then they have to watch this little girl for over 24 hours. And if they succeed, they basically get a huge payment for it, which that sounds intriguing. And then they find out that the girl that they've been watching the whole time is a vampire who's also a ballerina. And what I got from the trailer, I really wish they didn't show too much, because basically what I got from the trailer, I watched the entire movie. But I'm really excited to see what this movie is, and the this movie just looks like it'd be a fun little horror movie with a ballerina vampire. And I'm hoping this movie doesn't take itself too serious with a vampire ballerina. I'm hoping that they play a little goofiness with that, which I imagine they would, but hopefully they end up doing that, and if they don't, then I might not like the movie as much, but we'll see what this movie has to offer me. I love Radio Silence, and I love that Miss Melissa Barrera is in this movie. This movie has a lot of effort. This movie has a lot of potential to cracking my top 10 movies of the year. My final honorable mention is going to be Bad Boys 4. Now, I love the Bad Boys franchise. That is one of my favorite action trilogies out there. I especially love the first movie. That movie I love to death. I also really like the second movie. A lot of people don't seem to like that one, but I really enjoy it. And Bad Boys for Life really, really fucking surprised me how much I enjoyed that movie. That was a movie I did not expect to like when that movie first came out. I did not have a lot of expectations walking in, and I absolutely loved Bad Boys for Life, but I kind of think they fucked it up because I think they didn't know that they were gonna have a Bad Boys 4, so I think they could have made Bad Boys for Life with this movie. But I don't know, who knows? Maybe it'll just be called Bad Boys 4 a bit, maybe Bad Boys Forever. That's really cheesy though, but I guarantee you that's what they'll end up doing. But yeah, I love the Bad Boys franchise. It's like really old, like kind of like throwback 90s action franchise is what the last 3 movies have been doing, the last 2 movies we're doing. I'm really hoping that this movie will make it one of the most consistent action franchises out there. And I don't really care that Michael Bay made them, but I'm really glad that a new crew is making Bad Boys movies, so they're more emotional and more funny in some areas. But I love the Bad Boys franchise, and hopefully this movie will deliver. Now we're finally at my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year. Those are just a few honorable mentions. Those movies did not go in a specific order, but these movies do. So, coming in at number 10 for my most anticipated movies of 2024 is Beetlejuice 2. I absolutely adore the first Beetlejuice movie. That is one of my favorite movies of all time. Probably my favorite Tim Burton movie as well, right behind Edward Scissorhands. Those movies are like always switching places like every day. I love the original Beetlejuice. But the reason this movie is on my number 10 and not higher is that I'm very cautious for this movie. I don't know why Tim Burton is making this movie now. I don't know if that he's desperate to make another movie. I don't know if that the studios were desperate to make this movie. This movie has been in development hell for a while now, and I'm a bit cautious for the movie. Jenna Ortega, who I've grown to love, she's a great actress in a lot of movies that she's been in lately. And she said that this movie is very promising and this is the most fun that she's ever had on set. I love that Michael Keaton's coming back, but at the same time, I'm like really confused by that because he's like 70 years old, so he won't have the physicality that he did when the first movie came out. And I'm hoping he'll be able to step right into that role once again and just turn on Beetlejuice and not just be like just old Michael Keaton. I'm really hoping that they don't make old jokes with Beetlejuice throughout the entire movie, but I'm glad Tim Burton has come back to direct. I'm glad that a lot of the original cast is coming back for this movie. That has me intrigued. This movie has a lot of potential, but I'm going in very cautious. But it could either be on my most disappointing movies of the year, but it could also make my top 10 best movies of the year. But we'll see. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Terrifier 3. Now, I don't care too much for the first Terrifier, but the second Terrifier 2 came out and I bought and watched that movie. I fucking love Terrifier 2. That is one of my favorite horror movies of the last generation, the last like 5 years. That probably would be in my like top 15 favorite horror movies of all time. I absolutely adore that movie. And the second they announced this movie, I'm like, oh yeah. And the fact that they're getting a bigger budget now, it's like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, give it to me. And I'm really hoping, since this movie is supposed to be a Christmas version of Terrifier, I'm really hoping that they play with that too. I'm really hoping that they actually lean towards the Christmas stuff and to where it's not like Die Hard to where people are saying that it is a Christmas movie, that it isn't a Christmas movie, that it actually feels like a Christmas horror movie so we don't have debates over it in the next like 10 years after it comes out. I'm really enjoying the Terrifier movie so far. And if this movie is just as good, if not better than the other two entries, then I think you can have like a top 5 best horror trilogies of all time because I really love Terrifier 2. That movie really opened my eyes to the Art the Clown character and to this universe. I'm also really hoping that this movie will answer questions from the second movie, but who knows? I'm very excited for this movie and I have complete faith in the crew making this movie. And at number 8, it really surprised me that I cracked my top 10 too, because this is a sequel to a movie last year that I didn't have a lot of faith in, but I ended up loving it. But my number 8 is going to be Saw 11. Now, I love the Saw franchise, but I did not have a lot of faith in Saw 10, or Saw X, whatever the fuck you call it. After that movie came out, I absolutely fell in love with it. That is in contender for my favorite Saw movie. I absolutely adored that. And I'm really hoping that this movie can capture the success that movie did. And I'm really hoping that Lionsgate sees why that movie was so popular and well received, and had the huge box office success that it did. I'm really hoping that they notice that. I'm really hoping that they'll bring back Cecilia for this movie. I'm very excited for Saw 11. Now, I'm fully in gear for the Saw franchise now. If this movie is just as good as Saw X, then I'm on the complete hype train for Saw again. I will look forward to every Saw entry if Saw 11 is good. And the fact that it's coming out like the same day, like the same weekend that Saw X did, I'm really hoping that they don't rush the movie either, but who knows? I'm on the complete hype train for Saw once again. I love Saw X, and I'm very intrigued to see what Saw 11 will give us. Number 7 is going to be A Quiet Place Day 1. This is a prequel to the first two Quiet Place movies. Now, I really love this world. I love the first two movies, especially the second one. That is my favorite of the whole world, really. And I'm kind of nervous that John Krasinski, who directed those two movies, will not be returning to direct, but I'm still glad that he is a producer. I don't know if he wrote the movie, but I love this universe, and I'm very intrigued to step right back into this world. But I don't usually like prequels, and this movie could break my heart too. But I have complete faith that this movie will be pretty good. I really enjoy this world. I like the concept of it, where aliens, if you make the slightest noise, they'll hear you, and they will seriously fuck you up. I'm very intrigued. I'm kind of hoping that this movie will be rated R, because I feel A Quiet Place Parts 1 and 2 should have been rated R, because there are, like, you could definitely tell it was trimmed the fuck to be PG-13. I'm really hoping this movie will be rated R, but if it isn't, I'll still watch it. I love this world. I love The Quiet Place. I love the concept of it, and I am very intrigued to finally step into it once again. 6 is going to be Ghostbusters: A Frozen Empire. I am a huge Ghostbusters fan. I love the original Ghostbusters movie. That is one of my favorite movies ever made. I really loved Ghostbusters Afterlife back when that came out in 2021. I loved what the new crew was able to do with it, but that movie wasn't perfect either. I'm really hoping that this movie will fix Finn Wolfhard, who was a huge criticism for me in the last movie because they did dick with him, and I felt that he was just a character that was just thrown into Afterlife. I'm hoping they'll intrigue with him. But this movie, I have complete faith in. I love that we're going back to New York. I'm glad that the original cast, Bill Murray and all of them, are actually going to come back and be like the going to be on the movie, like the entire movie and all that. I'm really intrigued to see what this villain is. They haven't really showed us much of it, but I'm sure when we get another trailer for this movie, they'll really show us what the villain is. And we got set photos that Slimer is going to be in this movie, which I was really upset that he wasn't in Afterlife. So I'm very excited for that. I love Ghostbusters. I'm very excited to see what this crew can do with a sequel to Afterlife, and it could break my heart though, but I doubt it will. At number 5, now this is a movie I'm very cautious about. This is a movie that I love the first movie to it, but I don't know how I feel about this movie, and that is Joker Filo Didaxo. I'm just gonna call it Joker 2. Joker 2. This is the sequel to the 2019 Joker movie. That movie I absolutely loved. I love Joaquin Phoenix in the role of Joker. I think he did a great job. There's no question why he won Best Actor of 20 back when this movie first came out. I really love what they're doing with this movie. I love Todd Phillips' direction of the first movie, to where he makes Gotham makes its a whole like character. Really, I really love that first Joker, and I'm glad that they're making a sequel to it, because I felt that Joker is one of those movies that could have had a sequel if they played it right. But this movie also has me cautious that the fact that it's going to be a musical. I don't like musicals. The two exceptions actually that I have is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original, and The Nightmare Before Christmas. Those are the only two musicals that I generally love. God, what the fuck's wrong with me today? Those are the only two musicals that I generally love. But I don't know I don't know if they're saying that they're gonna go full musical, or they're gonna have like some musical aspects in here. Lady Gaga, I think she's a great actress, especially after the one movie she was in with Adam Driver. I forget the name of it. It was like Gucci or something like that. Gucci. That's fucking weird. I don't know how I feel about her casting as Harley Quinn. Now, she could surprise me. I don't want to be a huge downer on her. Maybe she'll come up and blow the doors open and is like, "Oh, fuck you, bitch. I'm going to be great." I'm really hoping that will be the case, but I just don't have a lot of faith in that. But we'll see. The fact that it's going to be a musical, and especially since you have Lady Gaga there, I don't know. The fact that it's gonna be a musical kind of scares me, but just be able to step into the Joker world again with Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix, that alone has me excited. But yeah, this movie kind of scares me still. And at number 4 is gonna be Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I love the reboot, prequel trilogy, whatever the fuck you want to call it, with Matt Reeves and Caesar. I loved Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is one of my favorite movies ever made, period. I absolutely love that movie. And War of the Planet of the Apes, that is a movie that wow, that is in contender with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes for being my favorite of that trilogy because they're both like equally great. Because like one day I'll watch this movie and then it'll go up. I love both those movies. It feels weird not having Caesar involved, but we all know what happened to him sadly. And I don't know how I feel that Matt Reeves won't be involved with this movie, or maybe he is, I can't remember. But I doubt that they would give this movie to people that wouldn't be able to handle it. And Planet of the Apes, I don't know how you could fuck that up. And I'm really excited to see what they'll do because this movie is like set after those three movies that we got, and this is like the period of time to where apes are actually ruling the world, and then the humans become like the slaves that they are in like the original movies. That beyond excites me. I cannot wait to step into this world once again. I love Planet of the Apes, and this movie can break my heart, but I doubt that it will because I really love the Planet of the Apes movies and the teaser that we got for this movie. It looks fantastic. The apes look just as good as they did in the other movies, and I have complete faith in this movie. But again, going in cautious, but I doubt that this movie will suck. Now coming in at number three. Now this is a movie that I doubt will probably coming out this year, but they have confirmed that it will be. And but this movie has this movie has all the potential in the world to break my heart, and I am very scared for it. And that is the remake of The Crow. This is the readaptation of the Crow comic book series, and it is a remake of the Brandon Lee film back in 1994. I absolutely adore that first Crow movie. I've not seen any of the sequels. I'm too scared to even go near them. Just how much I love that original movie. The original movie is just one of my favorite movies. Period. That if you know, it is technically a comic book movie, and I would probably say that is my favorite comic book movie. I fucking love that original Crow movie. And when anybody asks me what is the most emotional movie you have ever watched, The Crow is probably my number one answer because I think that is one of the most emotional movies ever made. That's just one of the most awesome movies ever made. And Brandon Lee unfortunately died making that movie. And this movie, the remake of The Crow, has all the potential in the world to break my heart. But I really hope that the people who work on this movie will pay respect to Brandon Lee in that original movie. Even if the movie is not good, I'm still hoping, I'm still having a little bit of hope that this movie could pay respect to that original film. I love Bill Skarsgård, I love him as an actor, but I don't think that he's a good casting as Eric. Brandon Lee, I think he's a perfect casting, especially after the tragedy. But Bill Skarsgård, who's an actor that I love, I don't think he's a good fit for Eric. But the fact that we're actually getting this movie, it has me intrigued. But this movie has all the potential in the world to break my heart for how much love I have for that original movie. But I still have the little bit of faith that it can be at least halfway decent. Going into my top two is now going into my top two. Now, my top two is actually really hard because these two movies I'm very excited for because one day maybe I'll be like, oh, this is actually my most anticipated, but or maybe this will be my most anticipated, but these are my top two movies that I struggled putting on this list of which one was my number one. But as of right now, my number two most anticipated movie of 2024 is going to be Maxine. This is the third chapter in the X trilogy, which consists of X and Pearl, and now Maxine. Now, X and Pearl came out the same year of 2022. X blew me away how much I love that movie. That ended up being like one of my top two favorite horror movies of 2022. I fucking adored that movie. And Pearl, I might actually prefer Pearl. I absolutely adore that movie. And Maxine, I have complete faith in the world now. Now, if Maxine is just as good, if not better than X and Pearl, you could probably have the best horror trilogy out there because I love this universe so far. I'm loving what they're doing. Besides the Mia Goth controversy, I am very excited for this movie. This is my most anticipated horror movie of the year, and I cannot fucking wait for this movie. I'm very excited to see what they'll do with this movie. And if this is the final X movie that we get, I'm really hoping that it goes out with a bang because if this movie goes out with a whimper for the trilogy and the final X movie, I'm probably going to be heartbroken. But maybe if since this trilogy has been so successful so far, I have complete faith that they're gonna do a fourth movie, but who knows. Maxine, I cannot fucking wait, because I have loved this franchise so far, and I have complete faith in the world that this movie is going to be as good, if not a little bit better than those two entries. Of course, coming in at number one, my most anticipated movie of 2024 is Deadpool 3. I love that first Deadpool movie. The first Deadpool is in my top 5 favorite comic book movies ever made. I do like the second Deadpool movie, but I don't think it's nearly as good as the first movie, if you ask me. And Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine kind of scares me, because I think Logan was a great send-off to his character, even that this movie will not bother that movie. I still think that Logan was still a goodbye to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. That was the best way to send him off, but the fact that we're getting him back in this movie does intrigue me. I am glad that he's getting his comic accurate suit, which I'm very excited to see what they'll do with him in that movie. But I don't know how I feel that it's going to be connected to the MCU. I don't know how I feel about that Disney is going to be part of this movie. I'm very happy that this movie is going to be rated R. I'm very excited to see the Deadpool and Wolverine fight side to side and just fucking up people and slashing them up. There was behind the scenes photos that these two might end up fighting. I cannot wait to see that fight scene. But I'm kind of nervous that this movie might just be a full just multiverse movie. I'm really hoping that's not what this movie is. But if this is what the movie is, I'm really hoping that they kind of joke with it a little bit, don't take it dead ass serious with it. But I have complete faith that this movie is going to be great. This is my most anticipated movie of the year. It's my most anticipated comic book movie of the year. And thank God this is the only MCU movie that we're getting this year, because I need a break. I think we all need a break from comic book movies one year. I'm really hoping that one year that we just get a year with no comic books, no comic book movies, no comic book shows, no direct to stream Disney Plus MCU shows. I'm really hoping we get that year, but I doubt it. But the fact that this is the only MCU movie that we're getting this year, that just shows that Bob Iger and Disney and Marvel have just complete faith in this movie, and I cannot fucking wait for this movie. You have it, everybody. That is my most anticipated movies of 2024. And sorry about with all the honorable mentions. I should have just made it as a my top 20 most anticipated movies of the year, but I didn't. But thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, like it. If you love to subscribe with the bell notification so you will get notified for my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, see you all next time.